What are we discussing on today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast? The D-backs big bounce back win in game number 2, courtesy of Christian Barry Bonds Walker. And will Ketel Marte be the D-backs only all-star representative?
You are Locked on Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. You're listening to who? The always charismatic host of this podcast, Millard Thomas. I'm a multimedia journalist and a graphic designer, so please go check out my website, millardthomas24.myportfolio.com. On there, you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. On today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, we'll talk about the D-backs' big bounce back victory in game number 2 against the Dodgers. Will Zac Gallen deliver a win in the finale? And will Ketel Marte be the D-backs' only all-star representative? Thank you for making Locked on Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free. It's available on all platforms, so please continue to tell your friends. And one of those platforms is YouTube. Please hit subscribe to Locked on Diamondbacks on YouTube. But now let's talk about the D-backs' big bounce back win in game number 2 against the Dodgers. Because, to be honest, the D-backs should have won game number 1. They blew it. Paul Sewald has been perfect all year. He blew a big save opportunity against the Dodgers. D-backs should be up 2 games, 2-0 in this series. But thankfully, they at least split it, and we're going to have a chance of Zac Gallen on the mound in the finale to win this series tomorrow. But let's talk about game number 2, because this was a story of keeping your composure, staying patient, and waiting for your opportunity, because the game started in a bad way for the D-backs. Christian Marte made his debut. This is a guy that I'm really excited about. I think he has the talent to be potentially the number 3 starter of the future for the D-backs. I think he has that kind of talent and ceiling, but the way the game started, you wouldn't have known that, because in the bottom of the first, Marte was kind of wild all over the place. His command wasn't there. He gave up a 3-run home run to Freddie Freeman and then a solo shot to Teoscar Hernandez, and you could just tell Marte was nervous. Marte had the jitters. He just did not seem comfortable in that first inning. But after that, he really settled down, retired the next 6 batters he faced, and gave the D-backs a competitive 3 innings of work. D-backs were down 4-1. They had to put in some work to come back in this game, and it was the offense that ended up being the story of this game. Marte battled. He did his job. The bullpen after Marte was fantastic, but it was the offense that was the story of this game. And you got to start off with Christian Barry Bonds Walker, because he has crushed the Dodgers in his career at that stadium. I don't know why, but he turns into an animal when he's playing in that stadium. I think he has now 17 home runs in just 41 games in Dodger Stadium in his career. He has like a near 1100 OPS, like over a 330 average. Christian Walker loves Dodger Stadium. In tonight's game, Walker was 4 for 5, 3 runs scored, 4 RBIs, 2 home runs, and they were 2 pretty big shots. I mean, that second home run by Walker, 108 miles per hour off the bat, would have been a home run in 28 of the 30 ballparks, and not in Coors Field or Camden Yards. But monster home runs by Christian Walker in this game. Continues to crush the Dodgers in every opportunity he gets in LA. Should have had a 3rd home run in one of his at-bats. Super close, off the wall. Christian Walker just loves playing in Dodger Stadium. So he is the MVP of the game, no doubt about it. The D-backs offense crushed it with 2 outs. They scored 7 of their 12 runs, I believe, with 2 outs. Actually, it could be more than that. Was that Christian Walker home run at the end. Was that with 2 outs as well? Let me double check that real quick. Christian Walker home run. That was also with 2 outs. So that means 10 of the 12 D-backs runs came with 2 outs. That was really the other story in this game. D-backs through the first 2 games really blew some easy opportunities. They had bases loaded, no outs in the first game, did nothing. They had first and third, 1 out, and did nothing in this game. But with 2 outs, they were able to capitalize on every single opportunity. Jake McCarthy, he just continued to make winning plays, ran through the sign to score a run, threw out Freddie Freeman at the plate. He's stealing bases. He's going the opposite way with base hits. Like, Jake McCarthy has been such a bright spot for this team this season, and he was really good in game number 2. He only had a 1 hit, but his impact, it just felt all over the diamond, creating chaos with his speed. Love Jake McCarthy. Also, Lourdes Gurriel, he continues to be on fire from what he did in the month of June, where he batted 345, had himself an insane month in the month of June. 2 more hits in this game, 3 RBIs, and the ball just feels like it's getting smoked off Gurriel's bat right now. Every at bat he had, every plate appearance, I felt like the ball just smoked. Even the foul balls, all of them felt smoked off Gurriel's bat. He feels really he looks really comfortable at the plate right now. I think he's in the zone. Gurriel looks like he's back, and he's been back for a minute now. Love the way that he's playing and swinging the bat. Eugenio Suarez, another good night. He's played well through the first 2 games of this series against the LA Dodgers. 2 hits for Eugenio plus 2 walks. Average now up to 203. He has crossed the 200 marker, 2 doubles in the game. So just a great night by Eugenio. Got a lot of the offense going for the D-backs, and that's not typically what we say. So good job by Eugenio to finally be doing something positive with his bat. Gabriel Moreno, he finished a triple shy of the cycle. He had himself a pretty good day as well. A home run for Moreno. He's looked really good since coming back off the injury. 3 hits for him, a couple RBIs, and a run scored. Outplaying Will Smith in this game. As we know, Will Smith is a D-backs killer, but not tonight. Gabriel Moreno was the better of the 2 catchers. I would have loved to see Corbin Carroll get in the mix and get in the fun. He had a base hit, 1 for 5, but I felt like he had his opportunities to deliver big hits. He had the one opportunity where he hits the line drive, and the shortstop, it just posted perfectly to exactly where Corbin Carroll is going to hit it. I want to see Corbin Carroll get in on some of the action and do some damage. D-backs overall, great night by the offense, great night by the bullpen. Bryce Jarvis, Mantiply, Ginkgo, and Vieira all do their job after Christian Mena. And now it's set up for the D-backs and Zac Gallen to potentially win this series. But all they got to do now is win the finale, and we'll preview that game in segment number 2. But first, if you want to buy any tickets to any upcoming D-backs games, and the place you want to go, of course, is going to be Game Time, because Game Time has the best deals on last-minute tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy theater, and more. Flash deals save you even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Zone deals save you even more when you choose a section and you let Game Time choose the seats. And they have all-in pricing. If you toggle this feature on, you can see the total cost upfront with no surprise fees at checkouts. Even get a panoramic view of your seat before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And I also want to talk to you guys about booking.com. Yeah, because this episode is brought to you by booking.com. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly want to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city. From hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. As a D-backs fan, you know what? I'm down to travel and go check out the Dodger Stadium and spend a little time in LA, or maybe go down to San Diego. To be honest, I love Petco Park. I'm down to go on Booking.com, Booking.yeah, and score a great deal on a place to stay. So right now, why not go on Booking.com and plan a little travel and go check out your rival city? Booking.com, Booking.yeah. All right. Let's get back into the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast and let's talk about the series finale and if Zac Gallen can deliver the D-backs a big win because the D-backs are going to need it. They're still 2 games below 500 as they are forever just in a perpetual state of climbing to 500 and then falling a couple games back. They are once again close to having a positive run differential, -6 now on the season. They are third in the NOS ahead of the San Francisco Giants, and they are still keeping pace in the wild card race, but they still don't own one of the wild card spots. They're 2.5 games back currently of the St. Louis Cardinals, and another victory against the LA Dodgers, winning back-to-back series against the LA Dodgers in LA would, I want to say, inspire a lot of confidence, but I've seen the D-backs beat the Dodgers and then lose to the Miami Marlins in the very next series. But at least for the short term, you would feel very good about the D-backs if they go into that finale tomorrow and beat the LA Dodgers. It's not going to be easy. The Dodgers bats are probably going to wake up and be alive as they are for almost every single game. They were pretty live for most of this game number 2, at least through the first inning. Then they went cold after that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are alive in a big way in the finale. But the D-backs are going to have their best starter on the mound in Zac Gallen, and they are going to need him to really pitch like an ace and deliver the D-backs a very big win. Zac Gallen in his career against the Dodgers in LA has been just fine. Nothing amazing, but not horrendous either. 6 starts, 35.2 innings pitched, 17 earned runs. He's been fine. 4 home runs allowed, 39 strikeouts. Like, he's been fine. A 1.2 whip, 9.8 strikeouts per nine. Like, Zac Gallen hasn't been elite, but he also hasn't been horrible in LA when he's pitched against the Dodgers. I want to say Zac Gallen coming off the injury. He said he has been trying in rehab to keep the competitive edge and stay locked in through his injuries and through coming back. And so for Zac Gallen, second start back in a big start against an NOS opponent, a big start trying to keep pace in the wild card race and continue to build strength and continue to build wins as we get close to the All-Star break. Like, I think Zac Gallen is trying to go out there tomorrow and dominate the LA Dodgers. I don't think he's going to care about coming off the injured list pretty recent and this only being your second start back. I think Zac Gallen is going to go out there and pitch like he's in a playoff start, pitch like it's a playoff atmosphere, and put it all out there on the line because Zac Gallen is one of the most competitive guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt again tomorrow just because that's how hard he's going to pitch. I don't want that to happen. I want to take that back, but Zac Gallen, he pitches like he wants to hurt himself because that's how much he cares about the sport. That's how much he cares about having a good start. And I think against the LA Dodgers, a couple weeks out from the All-Star game, also trying to build your own All-Star case, I think Zac Gallen is going to go out there and potentially have himself a good start and put the D-backs in position to win the series finale. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Zac Gallen goes out there and dominates because I think he's going to be I think he's going to be locked in from the start and going there with the mindset like this is a pivotal playoff game. So I expect the best of Zac Gallen because I think Gallen is at his absolute best when the pressure is high, when the pressure is on him, there's expectations. I think that's when Zac Gallen's at his absolute best. It's like what we saw in the postseason. He was up and down in a lot of those starts, but in the World Series, when it was do or die time, that's when Zac Gallen stepped up in a big way against the Philadelphia Phillies. When it was do or die time, Zac Gallen also pitched pretty well. So I believe Zac Gallen is going to have himself a pretty good start against the LA Dodgers in the finale, but we're going to need the offense to continue to, you know, do pretty well against the Dodgers pitching staff, which it has done through the first couple games. Scored 5 runs in game one, scored 12 runs in game number two. And we're going to need the D-backs offense to continue what it's been doing the first two games against the LA Dodgers. And we'll see if they can do that. We'll see if Christian Walker can continue to crush the LA Dodgers and look like Barry Bonds in LA. Landon Knack had a pretty good start the first time around through the first time he faced the D-backs earlier this season. 5 innings pitch, 1 earned run, had himself a good day. But when you go back and look at that game, D-backs took that game into extra innings at Chase Field, and guess what? Christian Walker walk-off 2 home run shot in the 10th inning. Hopefully, Christian Walker could deliver the go-ahead home run in the 9th inning against the Dodgers in the finale tomorrow. Eugenio Suarez, we'll probably see him in the finale, and I'm okay because he's been good through the first two games of this series. So I'm fine with Torey Lovello riding Eugenio Suarez in the finale. And then Jake McCarthy, I think he needs to be out there again. I think Jake McCarthy needs to play 3/4 of the time compared to Alec Thomas. I know Thomas plays better defense. I know him in center, Corbin Carroll right probably makes more sense, but Jake McCarthy's bat, I think, is way too valuable right now. And also, his defense isn't that bad as we saw him throw out Freddie Freeman at the plate. So we need Jake McCarthy in the lineup as much as possible. And I hope he's in the lineup once again in the series finale. Now we'll talk about if Ketel Marte will be the only D-backs representative at this year's All-Star game. But first, I want to talk to you guys about AATA because AATA is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop, earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average AATA user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With the Bada, you can earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or Apple App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. All right. Let's get back into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast. And let's talk about Ketel Marte making the All-Star game. And will there be any other D-backs that join him? Because it was announced Ketel Marte, our very own, will be starting the MLB All-Star game. And rightfully so, because Ketel Marte has been that guy this season. And honestly, when looking at this game, like, the 12 runs by the D-backs, the 16 hits overall. And we really didn't talk about Ketel Marte that much because he wasn't really needed. It was mostly the second half of the lineup that put in work. Ketel Marte didn't have to do too much in this game, but that's okay because Ketel Marte, for most of the year, has put in work for the D-backs. And I say he didn't really put in work in this game. He still got on base 3 times. That's how good Ketel Marte is. But you look at his numbers this year among second basemen. Entering Wednesday, he led the NL among second basemen in slugging, OPS, RBIs, total runs, hits, and he was tied with Nolan Gorman with home runs at 17. Ketel Marte has been an absolute stud this season. delivering big hits. He's been great in the clutch for the D-backs as well. Recently, I feel like a lot of late game situations, Ketel Marte has really come through for the Arizona Diamondbacks. You look at his numbers with runners in scoring position this year, 297 average, 845 OPS entering Wednesday. So really good numbers there. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, still has over an 800 OPS. And you look at his numbers in high leverage moments this season, Ketel Marte, 400 average and over 1100 OPS entering Wednesday. Absolutely clutch. Marte has been phenomenal this year, providing power again for the D-backs. That's been an area of his game that's been kind of missing since 2019. We saw it come back in a big way last year. 485 slugging, 25 home runs. It was nice to see Ketel Marte with some power once again, but this season he's taken it to another level so far, already at 17 home runs, over 500 slugging right now. Marte absolutely locked in at the plate from the start of the season. We've seen over 20 plus game hitting streaks from Marte. And let's not forget defense as well. You look at every defensive metric, and they tell you Ketel Marte is one of the best at his position right now defensively. He makes it look so easy at times. There was a double play turned in the game tonight where he flips it to Christian Walker after receiving the ball for the first out, and he just tosses it over to Christian Walker just effortlessly. It feels like it was almost lazy how he turned the double play because he made it look so easy, and that's how good Ketel Marte has been this season. He's deserving of the All-Star game starting nomination that he got. Only his second All-Star game nod in his career. 2019 was the other one where he finished fourth in MVP voting. Marte has been a stud throughout his career. Career OPS of 804, 280 average. Marte is a really good player, and he's being recognized once again by starting this year's All-Star game, and I'm very happy to see it. And I want to see if there's going to be any other D-backs players that join him, because I do think there's a couple of other players that have a case to make the All-Star game. I think Zac Gallen has a case. His issue is he probably doesn't have enough of a workload, innings pitch. Maybe it's not enough. Now, he will potentially make 3 more starts before the All-Star game, 2 to 3. So if he does that and he looks good in those starts, then I do think he has a chance to make it to the All-Star game. I mean, in terms of strikeout rates and ERA, Zac Gallen is still one of the best in the National League, so he will have a chance when you look at the peripherals. The biggest issue, though, going for Zac Gallen, the peripherals look good, but you look at some of the advanced stats, like the hard contact stats. Zac Gallen on Fangraphs, #1 in exit velocity allowed and #2 in hard hit percentage allowed. Like, dudes are crushing the ball against Zac Gallen this season. I do think that's an issue and something that Zac Gallen has to work on. But overall, the traditional numbers look very good for him. And if he can finish the first half strong until we get to the All-Star break, I do think there's a chance he gets picked as a reserve, so I would be on the lookout for that. If Christian Walker has another great game against the LA Dodgers, I do think Christian Walker has a chance to make it to the All-Star game as well, because right now his slash line, 267, 339, 506 is actually very good among first basemen in the National League. And after getting 2 more home runs tonight, he now has 20 home runs on the season. And among first basemen, I mean, I don't know if Bryce Harper hit a home run on Wednesday, but he had 20 entering Wednesday. So Christian Walker potentially is tied for the lead among first basemen in home runs. If you look at let me change my fan graph real quick. If you look at slugging percentage, Christian Walker is currently third entering Wednesday in slugging percentage behind Bryce Harper and Freddie Freeman. And basically all the numbers, RBIs, Christian Walker was second entering Wednesday. He might be #1 depending on what Bryce Harper did. Christian Walker is having himself an insane year at the plate. You also look at the hard contact stats. That's really been the biggest thing that jumps off when you're evaluating the numbers for the first baseman this year. The one that really jumps off the plate, I think, is going to be the StatCast numbers, because hard hit percentage exit velocity and barrel percentage, Christian Walker is top 2 to 3 to 1 in all those categories. He's number 1 right now in barrel percentage. He's getting the barrel to the ball more than anyone else. Plus, defensively, he's still the best defensive first baseman in the National League. He actually has a fantastic case to make it to the All-Star game. Offensively, defensively, the numbers and stats are there for Christian Walker. So I do think he actually has an even better chance than Zac Gallen to be picked as a reserve for that game. Then after that, there are a few long shots for the D-backs to potentially make it to the All-Star game. Paul Sewald, I don't know if he has enough of a workload because he did miss the first month, but even after his blown save, he still has a 1.56 ERA and 11 for 12 and save opportunities is still pretty good. Ryan Thompson and Justin Martinez, both of them have sub 2 ERAs with over 30 innings pitched this season. So those are also a couple long shots for the D-backs as All-Star representatives. Not very often you see middle relievers make it to the All-Star game. Typically, it just closers, so I doubt a Ryan Thompson or Justin Martinez will make it. But they're long shots that I just want to mention. Zac Gallen definitely has a case, and Christian Walker, I think, has a very strong case to make it to the All-Star game. Now, that's it for this edition of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Come back tomorrow for more Diamondbacks news coverage and insight. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Doses.